What's up, guys? Here with you with FC Wonderkid, episode 86. Here with my guy, Bretson. How are you?
It's a new year. It's a new year. The slate is clean. The football is, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be coming in hard and fast. But first and foremost, we've got, it's like a holiday for a different reason. It's Happy New Year, and it's also the beginning of the transfer window. Oh, yes. Come on, the transfer window. True. It's like our, Fabrizio Romano becomes a superhero. Everybody literally just, checks their feed every second, waiting for news. And man, that news on Jan 1 is already pouring in fast and hot. And I want to make sure that at some point today, we talk about Cristiano Ronaldo, but that point does not need to be right now. I have a few thoughts, but I really would like to talk more about these wonderful festive fixtures from the Premier League that we've gotten. But first, I got to ask, man, how you feeling? 2023.
I'm feeling all right, man. And yes, I agree with you. It's Fabrizio Romano time when the transfers come. But I want it to be our viewers' time too. So before we say all our transfers and we talk about the fixtures, tell us, what are the transfers that are for sure going to happen in the comment section on YouTube? And if you're on Spotify, hop into YouTube and just comment what we need to talk about in terms of transfers. Like, Declan Rice is for sure moving. Harry Kane will leave Tottenham. I know these are bold outcomes, but tell us yours in the YouTube comment section. But yes, you mentioned, Bretton, festive fixtures, and Arsenal are 7 points clear. And if I had to award the manager of 2022 next to Ancelotti and Scaloni, it's for sure Mikel Arteta. The championship mentality of this team is because of Arteta, and they're winning consistently. Odegaard, Saliba that I love. You know I love Saliba. Ramsdale,
yes, I do.
That is a voice at the back. You have leaders and you have players that don't want to lose. And Xhaka too, with Partey at the back. Xhaka's playing great football. So
yeah,
you gotta say that.
I mean, here's the thing, they're not even playing their best football. I keep saying this. They aren't playing their best football. In some respects, they almost pissed that result away at Brighton. But anytime you put 4 goals, 4 goals on somebody at the Amex, you're gonna come away with a win. And you mentioned Thomas Partey. Yes. Thomas Partey, in my mind, is one of the biggest reasons why Martin Odegaard is quite possibly the best midfielder next to Kevin De Bruyne in the Premier League right now. No.
That assist.
No, that assist was nice, yes. But like Martin Odegaard right now has been given the freedom and given the, they don't have to ask him to be as really defensively aware, I guess you could say, because he's not that defensively great, because he's got Thomas Partey behind him. Because and he also, Thomas Partey opens up Granit Xhaka as well to focus on his strengths, because, man, this is probably the longest stretch Xhaka has had where people are calling his name instead of booing his name in an Arsenal shirt. And I got to say, but like, it baffles me, Alex. 7-point lead. Do you honestly think that Mikel Arteta believed that this turnaround, that this glow up, if you will, of the Gunners would happen this soon?
I think he doesn't, but I think he's just working with the flow of things. He knows he's got special players, and he's getting them faster than ever. You got Odegaard, that's a very different player that he's predicted as fast, I'd say. Saliba, he had doubts of him in the past, Arteta. I think he doesn't have as much as he has now. So I think a lot of doubts he had answered this season ahead, Mikel Arteta. So I think, yes, Arsenal, they are favorites right now to win the Premier League. And they are one injury away. It's not Martinelli. It's not Saka. It's Thomas Partey, okay? If this man gets injured, those title odds, change drastically for me at least. So, they get a replacement for Partey, okay? I just want to emphasize this because that's the incomplete a piece in the puzzle, in my opinion, with Arsenal, with the striker too. But I want to say, I got here in my notes, Martinelli, okay, has 16 games, 7 goals, 2 assists, and I got to say, he might be one of the best bargains ever at Arsenal, getting them for £6 million. And Saka, right now, can be considered one of the best wingers in the world in form, man. I'm going to say that. Arsenal are top of the best league in the world, and it's because of Bukayo Saka. Must be in the talk of best under-23 players in the world right now. He is lethal, man, and a leader. Get that extension. I always say this every pod, man. Get that extension. It has to happen. Has to.
I think they'll get it done. They'll get it done. And that 7-point cushion, it sounds good. And I agree. I think Mikel Arteta, probably along with a lot of Arsenal fans, are pinching themselves right now because 7 points sounds a whole lot bigger than it likely is because they will have to face Manchester City not once but twice in the second half. And that's kind of like the choose your own adventure part of this whole situation for Arsenal. It's an amazing place to be in. But what do you do next? Do you shore up your depth by spending your money on backups, solid backups for your DM, for Partey, maybe for your wingbacks, your fullbacks, your wingers as well? But is it really? I mean, if I were Gunners fans, if I were Arteta, I would be maybe having cold feet when it comes to spending anything above 40 million for Mykhailo Mudryk, which I know if you look at Mudryk's his Instagram or any of his socials, it's all like Arsenal, come get me, come on, I'm here, I'm ready to go. But at the same time, Shakhtar is playing very big hardball with really not much of a bargaining chip because I believe there are other wingers out there that Arsenal could definitely look for and maybe spend a little time. I don't think they need to rush with Martinelli in the form that he's in currently, but like this is really...
if Mudryk goes for 50, 60 million, is overpriced?
Right. Yes.
Who would you get for that?
I would get João Felix on loan. I would sell Pepe, Nico Pepe. I would get him out the door for a cut rate fee, and that right there would essentially pay for the upfront fee, not the wages, but it would, I think, pay for close to the upfront fee that Atletico Madrid would be asking for. João Felix fits this. And he can fill in any number of places.
I agree.
Right? He can fill in any number of places.
I agree.
But Mudryk is an unknown except in a couple Champions League games. He's an unknown except for a couple. I agree that he has what it takes. I do not agree, although I'm not Roberto De Serbi. I think that's his name, right? Roberto?
Yes,
I'm not Brighton boss De Serbi, who used to coach him, who said Mudryk could win the Ballon d'Or one day. But man, I just think there's more mobile things because this is very much a project that has been accelerated to where they could win the Premier League this year. But my guess is that, yes, you want to win the Premier League for the first time in 20 plus years, but at the same time, you also want to be dominant for years and years and years to come. I don't think Mudryk necessarily is that guy that does that. Look more insular, I guess.
I'm gonna go the other side of this because a winger, especially he's Ukrainian, he's gonna be the star of his nation for years to come too.
I hear.
I think Mudryk, his price is above 50, and I'm gonna give you now a player that I'd compare a year or two back was in a similar situation as Mudryk, and it's Kvisha Kvaratskhelia. I feel like because of Kvaratskhelia now, more players like Mudryk are getting the attention they deserve. And Mudryk in this Champions League, for me, he was absolutely electric. And I think he justifies at least 50, 60. If it goes above 60 million, I agree it's overpriced. But Bretson, I'm totally on your side when it comes to Mudryk, 60 or above 60 million, or João Felix on loan for 8-10 million. I'm João Felix completely. I love that suggestion, Bretson. But how much do you think he's going to cost, though? Like, after the loan, João Felix. I mean,
Shakhtar, João Felix, that I don't know. I haven't even given thought to that.
100 million.
It's certainly... you think 100 million?
If Atletico won't put they'll have to leave the digits on that. 100 million.
Yeah.
Like, I can't see it. And they'll justify it. Say, oh, we got an 8 million from the loan, 100 million here, that pays his stay. But I could see that. But let's see. Arsenal can lower it though. I think they can lower it.
And the Reece Nelson injury, that's tough because he was coming back. Obviously, in those few minutes he had, he scored 2 goals and had an assist. So it was a shame. It was a shame and very unlucky. You have ESR Smith Rowe. He's coming back. Obviously, he could play on the wing, but also plays cam mostly. You got Fabio Vieira that really hasn't even been used that much. But it's tough for me because I do believe that they can achieve depth and continue on their plan of being not, dominant just for 1 year. Obviously, that's the thing. It's the choose your own adventure. Do you go all in to win it this year and potentially sacrifice the future?
Exactly.
Or do you keep it measured, say we're ahead of the game right now, we do what we need to do to shore up the ranks, but we also make sure that we are giving everybody the support and the confidence that they need to continue to carry this out, because this second stretch of the Premier League season is going to be brutal. Brutal for them. But I do have to say, before we move on for Arsenal, because it's impressive play. There's a lot of players that are playing so amazingly. Eddie Nketiah is another one. But when it comes down to it, for me, it is pretty impressive to think, and Norway, I guess, has to be pretty happy, or Norwegians out there that follow football religiously. You've got your top scorer in the Premier League being Erling Haaland, and you've got Martin Odegaard, probably seen as the most in form. I'm not saying best, but the most in form midfielder in the Premier League at the moment, and they're both Norwegian. You got to hope that translates to international events
Success,
in the years to come. It's
really,
Cup
really
in
impressive. Future. Man, that's what you got to see in 2026. Hope to see Haaland right there with Odegaard. Completely agree. And I just want to end on my side with Arsenal. I completely agree. They shouldn't overstep Arsenal. And I think Edu and Arteta have a list of names. The names with Mudryk, names with Douglas Luiz, that in the summer, at the end, he got that extension. That was a big blow. But Arsenal has clear targets that they want to get. So hopefully, João Felix is in that list. FC Wonderkid, we definitely want that move to Arsenal. But people, tell us down below your thoughts about the Arsenal situation. And if you're enjoying the podcast until now, don't forget to like this video. But yes, you mentioned the Norwegian beast. And yes, the best midfielder is Odegaard in form. But come on, Erling Haaland is going so bold this season. We're still not even halfway through in the Premier League. And Erling Haaland already has 21 goals, in which he's 2 goals away from the top goal scorers of last season, Son and Salah, that had 23. Ridiculous. He already has more goals than his dad when he was in the English First Division. It's not even a one season.
It's bonkers, and yet Manchester City is 7 points behind.
Arteta, what? What's Arteta doing? Zinchenko effect.
It's absolutely baffling to think about, and I guess when you replace a lot of your attack with one otherworldly human that is basically a goal vacuum or a goal, whatever you want to call it, just this goal nut. You do, I guess, give things up, right? I mean, it used to be that Manchester City was so dang good and so dang dangerous on the wings, and it just doesn't feel that way anymore. And that would create chances, right, between Raheem Sterling, even when Bernardo Silva would play on the wings. And come on, help me out.
Mahrez is more on the bench.
Mahrez, yeah. So, I really do feel like they are sacrificing by having Haaland up there. And maybe we're starting to see some of the negatives that come out from that, because if you can't break down Everton at the Etihad, I don't necessarily know what to tell you.
I won't blame Haaland, though. I think Ben Godfrey, though, big highlight on that game. Okay, 1-1 Everton, Man City. He definitely
got in his head.
Yeah, he did. He rattled Haaland. There was definitely moments between the two. And Ben Godfrey is a very underrated English center back. Please remember the name, okay, people? But yeah, I agree. There is limitations with Erling Haaland still. And I think Erling Haaland acknowledges them. And that's why I feel like he's going to be one of the best players ever in football. Because he already, at this stage, says he's irritated when he sees people score goals in the World Cup. He has that success mindset of, I'm going to work on my body. I'm going to work hard. I have a father that set me as an example to Erling Haaland. So I see a lot of positives that make me think that Man City, with Haaland, Foden, Cole Palmer, Rico Lewis at right back. Oh my days, what a player. They're going to build a dynasty.
or midfield, apparently. Rico Lewis can do it all. You know, he's in the midfield. He was at fullback. Yeah.
So that's
and
a
Cole
dynasty,
Palmer.
man. And Julian Alvarez, man.
Yeah.
We're talking Erling Haaland. Yes, he was irritated. I'm not saying he was irritated for the success of Julian Alvarez, but Haaland is the main man and striker. And there's a guy that's the striker of the team that won the World Cup with Julian Alvarez, man. Talk about attention. So Haaland wants and will prove himself consistently in 2023. And it's not a bold prediction, man. This is not bold. Like 21 goals already. So, but yeah, he's making history too. This is what I wanted people to remember too. It's like, watch Man City. You're witnessing history. Pep Guardiola will be remembered as a coach. De Bruyne there, Haaland there, Foden starting now. You are going to remember these moments, man. So might as well watch greatness with City, Liverpool, United starting too, and Arsenal beginning that bold rivalry. So a lot of
and it's bizarre. It's bizarre to even say it, but if Erling Haaland can even slightly improve his finishing, that's when Manchester City becomes pretty much virtually unbeatable, because it's not whether or not he's going to get chances during the game. He's going to get chances. It's just whether or not he puts them away. And he put it best. Haaland put it best in that midweek Manchester City Leeds game, where he obviously could have had 5. You know, he could have had 5 goals, but he didn't. And unfortunately, that type of mindset, he was understandably upset with himself in the post-game interview. And then he went out Everton. He scored a goal, but when all is said and done, he didn't hit those chances again. So there is, and this is scary to think, a whole lot of room for improvement when it comes to Erling Haaland. What is going to be really interesting, and Pep might not be around for this in the future, like 5 years from now, 7 years from whatever, is as Erling Haaland becomes even more dominant with his goal scoring and with his ability to be the man, right, for a team. At what point does it potentially become a way to play against Manchester City, right? At what point does it become maybe an ego that develops? And I'm not saying that he's Mr. Ego right now at his age, at 22. But as he scores more goals and it becomes 50, 60, 70 goals in a calendar year, Erling Haaland, it is going to be Erling Haaland and whoever takes the pitch with him. It's not going to be Manchester City any longer.
I see where you're coming. And I think if Erling Haaland doesn't win a title with Man City in the Prem, people are going to say that. People are going to say that. And it's understandable because at Dortmund, he didn't win. At Salzburg, everybody wins. And now at Man City, if he doesn't, with Pep Guardiola there too, the pressure, it's undeniable. And he's 22 right now, and he has mad pressure, Erling Haaland, to perform, because he had Alvarez that won both for Argentina, and his biggest rival to win the Ballon d'Or in the future was one of the best players in the tournament. That is Kylian Mbappe. And I might say Kylian Mbappe right now is in the discussion to win the Ballon d'Or. And Haaland is a bit in the back foot. So that's why he's irritated. And that's why he's going to go bold with the goals even more and improve himself. But I said Mbappe. I just want to say, I don't want to go away from City, but I just want to say that Mbappe in 2022 had 56 games, 56 goals, 17 assists, and he's the player with most goals scored in the top 5 leagues in 2022. So that's why he's in the debate for the Ballon d'Or. And he carried France to a World Cup final too, in which he scored 3 goals in a final, man. So
crazy.
Like, insane. So I just wanted to say Mbappe with all this Haaland chit chat. But yeah, how much is Haaland now valued, man? Even like it's insane. It's insane.
I don't think there's anybody. I mean, you're talking PSG and potentially Real Madrid that could even fathom what type of value, and that value would likely be like, we have to fix your base salary because otherwise we'll get killed, and we have to find other ways to pay you. I mean, that's kind of what it would come down to. It's kind of like if Kylian Mbappe were to move again as well, because yes, as of right now, these two are the torchbearers for the future. As we potentially leave the Messi-Ronaldo debate for years and years to come, it's Haaland and Mbappe for the foreseeable future. That's for
and you mentioned that like the Haaland, there's a World Cup stop, and Haaland keeps on scoring. It's like he was prepared during the World Cup. He was working hard, and he's showing with his results. And it's so mad, man, that he has 21 goals in the Premier League, and there was even a stop of a month, and he still gets the 21 goals in the Prem. So, oh my gosh. I don't know.
We said it when he was racking up goals at Dortmund too, but he is normalizing like this type of goal scoring. You know, it's gotten to the point now, we've seen it so much with him, that even though he's stepped up to the Premier League, you just can't fathom what he's doing as it stands, because we're likely not going to see it again for a very, very long time. It's insane. I mean, he's matched pretty much every Golden Boot winner back until Mo Salah, when Mo Salah put up 30 goals in one season. I don't even know how long ago that was, right? He has matched almost every one of them, or he's within a goal or two. And we just turned January, right? We've got 5 more months of football, Premier League football alone ahead of us. And more importantly, what I loved to see the other day with Haaland was he shouted out. Well, I don't know what the word is, but he basically said, hey, I got to really give some credit to the physio team, because they are keeping me as razor sharp as possible, so he has the chance to go out there every day. Because we all remember the one thing we thought was the Achilles heel of Erling Haaland was the fact that he would get little injuries that would keep him out a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We have seen, it's been a while, but we have seen bad games from Erling Haaland.
True.
But it has been a very long time, and he has been immensely consistent because, according to him, the physio room at Manchester City. So kudos to them.
Kudos, and that is a very difference maker that can do in a locker room, man. Having a good physio team involved in the team spirit too, helping what they need. So I love that. Great shout, and it's in details that you win championships. So I just want to say that. And Man City, just like Newcastle, seem to be on top of the details in the world of football. But tell us down below what you think is going to happen with Man City and all this chit chat too with Erling Haaland. But mentioning City so much and saying how this team changed with a striker, there's a team that in the Prem is desperate to sign a striker, and it's Man United, because in terms of chance created, it's not Arsenal, it's not Man City, it's definitely not Tottenham, the first in chances created in the Prem. It's Man United with Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, Anthony, Casemiro holding the fortress. This is a changed team, okay? I gotta say that. And most chances created, it's Man United. So they're desperate. They have to get someone now. Now that Ronaldo left too. Jeez.
Yeah, or in Marcus we trust, right? 11 goals, 4 assists in 17 United starts this season. On top of that, he pitched in, a nice 3 goals for England in the World Cup. But here, like this is what you talk about when it comes to, he's 25 now. When it comes to Rashford's mentality, he apparently slept in and missed training or missed whatever it was, a pre-match meeting. And Eric Ten Hag said, "You're not starting today. You're getting benched." Right. And instead of pissed about it. And I'm not directing this to anyone. Marcus Rashford's still a young guy. We know his character because of what he does off the field, right? But Marcus Rashford said, all right, fine. Absolutely valid. He even said it to the press. Ten Hag was valid for doing this. And then, boom, he goes in and he scores the game winner against Wolverhampton, right? And, and he should have probably had a second goal as well when it comes down to it. But he has 15 goal involvements in 17 starts, right? Along with the 3 World Cup goals. And it just makes you think, like, I don't know. I mean, obviously injuries in and out of the lineup. I mean, maybe the whole Manchester United thing should have been built around some of these younger guys that have shown just an immense amount of talent. And maybe they should have supported them more when they were not playing their best in past years, right? Obviously, the managerial transition here has been very rocky for Rashford. But when it comes down to it, I think Ten Hag can really continue to get the best out of Rashford, and he obviously already is, because I believe Manchester United has lost once in the last 19 fixtures.
Eric Ten Hag effect, and it's clear as day. It's the discipline and the consistency is now coming from it. I completely agree. Yeah. And Rashford is the first player I'm going to highlight because he deserves it. We are watching prime time Rashford, okay? I've never seen Rashford as consistent as he is right now, and he's got 104 goals for Man United, and he's currently the top goal scorer of the club, and he feels that responsibility, okay? I really get that feeling, and yes, 15 goals and assists this season. And if they had the striker, I think he'd still have big numbers, because the Bruno Fernandes-Rashford chemistry with a top number 9, it's going to be so good to watch. And it's true, Ronaldo, the style of play of Man United with Ronaldo didn't help Bruno Fernandes, didn't help Rashford. And yes, it has a big toll on how they're playing right now. So I think that Man United are only going to go up. And I want to see them getting a proper number 9. I'd like Gonçalo Ramos. I'm just shouting him out. Because, yes, there's not a lot of number 9s that you can get right now. And Gonçalo Ramos should be bold. Benjamin Sesko is my, if, like, no money, just going crazy, get Sesko. That would be my bold mention for United.
Well, is it Jan 1? I mean, right. Does he start now? Is it Jan 1, or does he join them this summer? I forget which one. Sesko.
I think it's summer, He's the replacement for Nkunku. So Nkunku goes to Chelsea, and Red Bull Group, phenomenal management, put Sesko at Leipzig. So Well, I mean, Gonçalo Ramos, obviously, do you still think he's worth 100 million? No, right now, this summer, if he's gonna leave Benfica, that's the price. 100%. Yeah. As a striker,
it's got to be cheaper there. I mean, here's the interesting thing right now. I mean, you're starting to see cracks form, and I would argue that the sample size is too small. I would argue that there's still a transition period that's happening. But you are starting to see cracks form in the Manchester United support of Jadon Sancho, who just apparently returned to training, but he's doing his own individual stuff. So I don't know the first thing that's going on there, but that's 100 million sitting on the sideline again. And then you also have people starting to lose a little support in Antony and his inefficiencies on the pitch. Now, whether or not that stays or whether or not he needs that transition period to kind of get under things, that's great. But it's not like Antony was incredibly prolific.
Exactly.
At Ajax?
Exactly. He wasn't the best.
So,
Tadic was the prolific one. And I'd say on the opposite, look at Luke Shaw and Bissaka now. They're much better. They're much better.
So do you here's the thing that I really have to kind of rationalize, because the Glazers, mainly because of the experiences and the pressure put on them by outside support of Manchester United, right? They are definitely going to be selling the club.
They should,
right?
Definitely.
And if they're going to sell the club, they're not going to spend on a 9. They're just not.
They have
right?
To. If they're going to, I agree. They are getting.
It's a damned
results.
if you do, damned if you don't. You know what I mean?
I felt it. Yeah, when you said it. But at least this season, though, like the Glazers did bring in before, like the season, like Eric Ten Hag did come. Malacia, Eriksen, Lisandro Martinez, Varane, Casemiro, all these transfers for me are positives. And it's a time of change at Man United right now.
You know,
and I'm gonna say this, man. Like Eric Ten Hag is doing an amazing job by diminishing the role of Maguire too. He was the captain when Ten Hag came, and now we even see Luke Shaw play at center back ahead of Maguire. I love it, and I love Martinez and Varane coming. Varane is the real deal, a leader next to Casemiro too. People talk a lot about Casemiro, but talk more on Varane. Ball distribution and the presence he has is elite. Varane, world class. So these are all points, man. These are all points that in the past we wouldn't say. And Ten Hag, like the fact that Ten Hag came, now you have Rashford, a better player. You have Dalot, a better player. You have everybody is improving with the team. Luke Shaw, Bissaka now. So I'm gonna say this: Eric Ten Hag, great choice, and he's showing right now the discipline and the leaders and the competition too. Like the fact that Malacia came, performed big time. The fact that Dalot started performing big time. He cost 20. Bissaka was the 50, 60 million guy. Then Shaw and Bissaka said to themselves, we got to step up if we are going to stay two. So the competition inside Manchester United, Eric Ten Hag caused that too. So it's the Eric Ten Hag effect. I'm going to say
and he's also bringing up kind of the next generation or doing the right thing with his younger investments like a Garnacho. Like Shoretire has been on the bench. Hopefully Iqbal gets some time at some point.
23s.
And now he's training. Exactly. Because that pipeline, much like Manchester City has figured out, that pipeline might not directly lead to the 11, right? But they also they can lead to financing, really shoring up the depth or shoring up the infrastructure. And Manchester City has figured that out. They figured it out 7-8 years ago, and that's why we saw literally Southampton paid how much for Romeo Lavia. They paid how much for Juan Larios. They paid how much for they got money for Jaden Braff wherever he went. There's just all sorts of things here where we look at it and it's like they're collecting trading cards, but these are real people, so that's weird. But they also turn, say, a $5 million investment into 17 or 18 million.
Chelsea started it.
United has enough talent in their academy that they could totally be doing this. There are championship clubs that would pay 8 to 10 million for somebody that is never going to see the light of day in the Manchester United senior team. Absolutely. Okay. And we see Amad Diallo taking on a leadership role with Sunderland right now. Sunderland's in playoff spots.
Where's Pelé? There's a lot of doubts, in terms of decision-making in transfers. I'll give you that. Yeah. But this summer changed everything. Again, Casemiro, Eriksen, Malacia, Martinez, 4 transfers, right? that was inconceivable in the times of Oli and in the past. So I do see change. I feel it. But they need that number 9. But let me do this question because we did talk about Arsenal. We talked Man City. Now we're talking United. Your top 4 must be your updated top 4 must be like right now before transfers happen. Okay, we'll do an updated after the transfers. But United, would you put them in the top 4? Or do you think they need that number 9 for you to be confident that they'll be in the top 4?
I do believe in what Eric Ten Hag is building, and Eric Ten Hag does not seem to think that he needs major changes to this roster, according to him. So at that point in time, I mean, when I look at the other teams that we'd be talking about in the top 4,
Newcastle,
it's pretty. I think Newcastle and I think Manchester United are legitimate top 4. End of the season could be there. And if one of the other teams gets broken at the top, which I don't think is necessarily going to happen.
Nope.
Liverpool. Yeah, I think. Right. So Liverpool. Right. So see, that's the thing. Liverpool's looking pretty good. Yeah. Chelsea has been looking okay in these post World Cup fixtures. We'll see if that continues. But yeah, Spurs in the mud.
But Man United, so you still feel like that number 9 needs to come. I at least feel like the number 9 needs to come through and some transfers. But if they don't spend in January to spend in the summer, I think Man United fans will understand that. And I'd like to see a Prem team just selling. You know, just showing that they sell with quality. If United just show the fans that they're selling the right players, like they see a Maguire going out, they see a McTominay. McTominay can be, but Maguire going out. So if they see those types of players leaving, I feel like fans will be happy too. So we can see. We can see. But tell us in the comments, people on YouTube, who'd you want to come in to this Erik ten Hag squad? Because, a lot to come. And you were mentioning how the transfers with academy players do now that City, United should replicate. I completely agree. But Chelsea started everything. And Chelsea, I think they're starting a new trend. It's buying more than 10 million, these academy players, man. It's like, you see Gaga Slonina now. You see Casade. You see Carne Chukwuemeka. You see Wesley Fofana that was 80 million. Andre Santos, like Omar Hutchinson, and now Enzo Fernandez to top the cherry. So Chelsea are trusting the youth 100%. Or Todd Boehly's just like, I trust you, the scout. I trust you, scout. Like, what's happening?
I honestly don't know what's happening, and at what point does financial fair play come in here? If we'll get to that, but it's barely even January 1st to timestamp today, right? When you and I are talking, and they've already shipped out 50 million. Right, they're going to bring in Benoit Badiashile. They're going to bring it. They're bringing in Andre Santos. And then there's 50. One more. Oh yeah, David Datro Fofana. Okay, 10. David Fofana. So that's I just think here between those three, it's a lot. It's a lot. And then on top of that, it is quality. But on top of that, Chelsea wants to hack a few more. I mean, they want to go all in for Enzo Fernandez, and I'm looking at it and I'm saying, at what point is this allowed? Even allowed, it's amazing to me.
If Enzo Fernandez goes to Chelsea for 120 million, Enzo and Wesley Fofana both cost 200 million. Those two players cost Chelsea 200 million. This is the team that got Lukaku for 110, and now they can't get rid of him, man. But by no means I think Enzo's a flop, though. Enzo is a guaranteed bowler for any team that gets him. And he's the best youngster of the World Cup, and he's one of the best midfielders in the Champions League too. I just think the World Cup waked up everyone of how good he is. So, Chelsea's going to get him, and it's a good buy. It's a good buy for Chelsea.
But the transfer market is broken if 120 million... I mean, it just doesn't seem...
It's a big price. It's a big price. Like, Vitinha cost PSG 30 million. So considering 120 for Enzo, he's a better player. I agree. But he's more... That's a big price tag too. I agree. But I think the thing here too with Enzo Fernandez is you can't put a lot of midfielders next to Jude Bellingham, next to Gavi, next to Pedri. And the name of Enzo Fernandez, you can. And he's 21. And he's going to represent the country of Argentina that without Messi in the future will need like pillars. And Enzo will be one of them next to Julian Alvarez. Yeah. So I think that comes with the price tag too. I don't know.
Okay. But there's no way in hell Chelsea gets Enzo and then goes after Declan Rice too.
I think they do that. I think they do that. And look at this midfield for Chelsea. Enzo Fernandez, Declan Rice, and Mason Mount. That solves it.
I know.
That solves Kante going. That solves Kovacic not playing. That solves all the issues of fans saying. And it's like it's a new beginning. Chelsea fans won't go against Todd Boehly if that's the midfield. And then you have Andre Santos, Carne Chukwuemeka, Casade. If any of those midfielders that I mentioned don't go well for starting for Chelsea, these youngsters want to prove themselves too. And Hutchinson, man, mad skiller that they steal from Arsenal. An Arsenal team uptrending too. So that says a lot. He believes in this project. And a lot of people believe when they get in touch with the people that are responsible for Chelsea. And that says it. And then Nkunku. Benoit Badiashile is going. Fofana has gone. And then Nkunku is going too. That's a big change. So I want to see this Chelsea team in the future. But this year is a -1 year. Next year is a 0. And the next one, then they'll win. And Graham Potter is a manager for a rebuild. How long did he coach that Swedish team?
Well, yeah, a long time.
7 years.
But here's what it comes down to. Graham Potter can never come back and say, we're just not getting the results because I don't feel like I'm getting support from management.
Facts. No, facts.
Because if he can't piece these together, because we're getting to like Nottingham Forest heights here, in terms of the amount of players he's bringing in. And yes, a lot of them are projects. A lot of them potentially might be sold off for more in the future, but he's not buying them for $2 million. He's not buying them for $5 million to flip them for 15 to 20. He's buying them for 18. And I guess Chukwuemeka at some point he might sell for 50, or are you going to hand him the keys to the attack? I don't know. Or midfield.
He costs 15. I think Casadei will definitely be that 50 million player too. And Gaga Slonina, he's 18. Getting mad clean sheets in the MLS. All the youngsters, man, that Chelsea's getting is cheat codes too. So I think there's a lot of... I'm going to give credit to the scouting system that Todd Boehly's bringing to Chelsea, because one of them will hit. And when they hit...
Football.
Football manager.
Football is straight football manager. Todd Boehly is like on the plane. He's on the plane. He filters 18-year-olds. I need an 18-year-old today. And then he goes to 19. There's any number of these players. At some point, you're okay. Here we go. You're not going to see Omari Hutchinson. You're not going to see Casadei. You're not going to see Chukwuemeka. You're not going to see Andre Santos. You're not going to see them you're not going to see them all on the field at the same time.
True.
Right?
Exactly.
So some of these are going to be bust. Or they're going to be sold for maybe what they paid for them. So in an essence, although the starting value is much higher than what Manchester City paying $8 million for Maximo Perrone is, it's the same type of game. My guess is, right? But in the end, it's all as good as the assembly of superheroes behind him in terms of the front office that he has built. Bringing in, what's his name? Vivell, right? Christopher Vivell, I think is his name. Yep. Bringing in Lawrence Stewart from AS Monaco. We said it last. Yep. So, he's building something that hopefully can run without Todd Boehly, and Todd Boehly just writes the checks. Okay.
I think that's...
It's certainly intriguing to us here at FC Wonderkid. But to be honest, out of all of them, aside from Gago Slonina, who will not win the sticks for years probably, I have to say that I am most excited about not only the financial upside in terms of him growing, but also the playing upside and what he can bring to the table if properly coached in David Fofana. I really, really do like his makeup. Yes. And I think people need to watch out. And it's not surprising that they paid likely the least for Fofana out of all those names we just mentioned.
Molde.
From Molde too.
That's where Salzburg went to catch Haaland. So it's like, that's where Salzburg goes fetch their Wonderkids. So Chelsea went so bold, anticipating. And you said Perrone, Man City. Man City once again showing elite scouting system, just like Julian Alvarez. They knew before the World Cup, they knew before the summer had even gone, that they had to get Julian Alvarez. And they're like, Perrone is the same.
They're like, we learned from Benfica getting Enzo first. We're not gonna make the mistake a second time. We're getting Perrone. I don't think Perrone is the same type of talent. In terms of ceiling or potential. But then again, I'm not on Manchester City's scouting team. They obviously know better, but there are some massively special elements to Perrone.
I think he is, though, in terms of intangibles. Just like, I'm going to say, before I refer to this player, though, I just want to say, we're saying Enzo leaving Benfica for 120 million. And once again, elite management from Benfica. Selling, in the last few years, more than 500 million. In players, leaving Benfica. And, like, I'm going to say, last sales of Benfica that do this more than 500 million are Ruben Dias, academy player, João Felix, academy, Enzo Fernandez, 120, Darwin Nunes, he was bought too for 20. So it shows the development, and they know what they have to do. And even Di Maria, years back, Benfica was doing this. But now the money's just big. And now Benfica could show to the biggest stage what they're doing. So I just wanted to give that shout to Benfica because incredible development. Antonio Silva Enzo. David Neres, he's playing much better now too there. Grimaldo now with Roger Schmidt, much better. But he's going to leave on a free. But amazing development from players.
Well,
but,
we know for one thing, Benfica definitely is going to be scouting the upcoming, I think, end of January, U20 Copa America. Because all those names you just mentioned, except I think Enzo. But Darwin was there. Julian Alvarez was there. Rodrigo was there at the last U20 Copa America in 2019 because 2021 was sacked because of COVID. You had Moises Caicedo. There were a lot of names that obviously went on to be big. I mean, big. Because we haven't even talked about where Caicedo might wind up. But that U20 Copa America, if people are starving for youth football, that starts in 3 weeks' time. And I know I'm going to have my eyes on it because, my goodness, there are going to be stars in the future that Benfica likely snaps up and sells for $250 million in the near future. But
I like how you said that. But Caicedo, great shout. And Perone, too, will join Man City after the Copa Sudamericana. So it shows the importance it has. And Benfica is going to join Man City. I said Benfica. I'm going to say Benfica are going to get to replace Enzo Fernandez. A lot of reports are saying Carlos Alcaraz, okay? And this player, what a box-to-box midfielder. Expect more movement, okay? Deep-lying playmaker. I'd say Enzo likes to stay in the midfield line. But Carlos, he likes to go to the box. And you'd expect very different, but very physical type player. So I think for 10 million, it's a bargain too to get this player. I think I'd see him. I could see him leaving, not for the 120 because that's best youngster of the World Cup type price tag. But I could see Carlos Alcaraz leaving in the future if he succeeds for similar 70, 80 million price tag. So.
And between Peroni and Alcaraz, I'm telling you, it's not done yet. I mean, there are so many great at Rosario Central, at Velez Sarsfield, obviously at Boca Juniors and River, but there are so many youngsters that are actually being given a chance, a big chance to play in a very, very competitive division that has need for improved economy. Right, in the division. So they are willing, every one of those clubs are willing to sell. And this is not the last Alcaraz, the last Peroni. There's names behind it, particularly, 16-year-old Gianluca Prestiani. You've got Alejo, I forget his last name, Veliz, I think is the last name. There's so many young bucks that are going to be coming through that I guarantee you they're going to wind up at Benfica, Sporting, Porto, some La Liga. Hopefully they wind up in MLS first, and then they take the next trip beyond that.
They might. Yeah. You got a couple.
It's great.
You have names that are doing that, so it might happen. Yeah. Okay.
To be honest, I thought we were going to get Alcaraz. I thought MLS was going to get Alcaraz, but I think Benfica's too much of us. I don't think you're going to be able to fight Benfica when it comes down to it. If they want him, they're going to get him. So.
We thought we were going to get Perone, and Man City then goes and stats him up. Oh, my days.
City football. You ready for this? Watch him get loaned to NYCFC. Calling it right now. Just kidding. I know he wants first team.
Exactly. I think Guardiola really wants Perone, and that too is another indicator that shows the potential on this kid. So, last shouts here on the pod. I gotta know your scoop, Breton, on Grish. Like, he was in the Premier League team of the season last season.
Yes, he was.
Now he goes to Al Nassr.
I know.
Let's just scoop.
I know. It is. So this is coming from somebody I know. I know that when we talk FC Wonderkid and when we see our comments, we read our comments, we get painted. You or I get painted in certain lights, right? Because you're Portuguese, you have to back Ronaldo, and you don't respect Messi, which we all know you do respect Messi. Because I talk anti-Barcelona or something, or whatever. But when it comes down to it, I mean, for me, trying to think of it, there's an old saying, right? Money doesn't buy happiness, right? And for a man that already has money, money certainly doesn't buy any more happiness. The more money you have doesn't make you exponentially more happy. It stops at some point. So when it comes down to it, if Ronaldo is doing this, maybe to become an ambassador to Saudi Arabia, we can talk about. Who knows? But we could, or for like a World Cup bid, or in the future, But when it comes down to it, if it's to make him, if he feels like he is taking care of himself and his family better because of the economy of this move, then I'm not here to pass judgment, nor does he give a crap what I think, right? But I do have to say that I think the turning point when all was said and done was when he thought it was a good idea to sit down with Piers Morgan. I just, that interview rubbed a lot of people that had really, really, really strong opinions that might not have had those opinions previously the wrong way. And I don't think it was necessary for him to do that, Piers Morgan, for him to uncover some ridiculous mismanagement at Manchester United. All that crap was already understood by anyone that watches football. But anyone that follows Manchester United. No, that did not lead to them going on a 19-game, one loss in 19-game unbeaten streak. That did not necessarily lead to the Glazers putting things up for sale, at least according to sources, SBJ here, Sports Business Journal, and other places. I think that's what people are using right now to justify Ronaldo sitting down with Piers Morgan. That was the end of the end for me when it came down to it. It felt like I didn't know Ronaldo anymore. It felt, not that I ever did. And it was less about him playing. It was less about him making a team better. And it just felt more like me, Mr. Ego. That's the only thing I have to say about that. When all is said and done, would I like to see a better ending for Cristiano Ronaldo when it comes to as ridiculously legendary, still in the GOAT talk type of situation that, the career that Cristiano Ronaldo has been put. You're absolutely right. I want to see a better ending for him. You hold out that Ronaldo will still have that better ending. I am skeptical, but I am with you that I would love to see it because he deserves respect for what he has given the game. But yeah,
it's dreamful that if we win a Euros, that would be amazing to watch Ronaldo getting another Euros. And if he has the longevity towards getting to another World Cup, and he definitely won't start, but being involved like Dani Alves was for Brazil, that would be amazing to watch. And Messi and Ronaldo, in terms of longevity, I think they're the top two in terms of greatness in football right now.
Oof.
I have to say that. Rest in peace, Pelé.
Yeah.
Okay, rest in peace. But in terms of longevity, Messi won a World Cup at 35. Like, Cristiano Ronaldo was performing big time at 35 too. Like, it's ridiculous, the levels that they're both on. And I'm going to say, like, Ronaldo last season, EPL Team of the Season, Man United top goal scorer, Man of the Match awards. He was the most on that team. And, yeah, man, going to Al Nassr too, it's financial reasons first. And it's clear as day that that's the... I just want to say, man, seeing people comment, though, about Cristiano Ronaldo, invalid legacy, what? Yeah. How many people in the world of football have done the achievements he has? None.
Not many. None. Yeah.
Only Messi can say some of the achievements, but none. Yeah. No other can compare in terms of numbers, and Pelé with goals. So don't say invalid legacy. Penaldo. Those are trash comments you can make. Like, at 37, getting 200 million a year, how many people could say no to that? Like, football players, I might say not even one. Only Messi could say no, maybe. I don't know. He wouldn't say no. I don't know. It's like, it's crazy.
But we know that the easiest thing to do on social media is to tear people down, especially people you don't know but that you see all the time, is to tear people down instead of try and support them. The issue here, Alex, is he's made it pretty hard to support him, right?
It's true.
With actions that he has taken, you can never understand a person, but if there's one thing that Pelé has taught, and it's not for everybody that retires from the game in the future. But if there's one thing that Pelé has taught, it is that the legacy for Pelé, for many that saw him and got the opportunity to see him play live, it was one of the most amazing things that they remember. But for many others that came to him later and know Pelé, they know him as an ambassador to the game, as somebody that wants to make this a universal game for everybody. And I just think that Ronaldo and Messi could aspire to that in the future because Pelé has definitely set that bar for a guy that has spent 60 plus years in the service of the game. You know, and that in and of itself is something to aspire to, regardless of net worth, regardless of whatever. In the end, you're only as rich as your family and your friends around you,
And
right?
I completely agree. I'm gonna say this. I completely agree with what you're saying, Breton, and I'm gonna give emphasis by saying Pelé, in my opinion, 100% is the most important Brazilian ever in the history of the country. Okay, the ambassador, not just to football, but for Brazil. In the middle of like problems with I don't know if it was a dictatorship at the time, but they had political problems when Pelé was there. So big credit to Pelé for going throughout this. And rest in peace, man.
Yeah, what a life lived. That's for sure.
Pelé and Diego Maradona, man. It's like I'm just happy that Pelé managed to see the World Cup. You know, like he did see the World Cup, and yeah, man. But it's always a sad ending with cancer. It's not good.
Yeah. Of course, and if only to be transported back one day to see, 1958. To see him in action. I mean, I would give a lot to be able to do that. I mean, for any number of the former football greats that still have staying power today, to see Georgie Best in his prime, to see Johan Cruyff in his prime. I mean, my goodness, I would pay a whole lot to see it. But
I have Cruyff, Maradona, Pelé. Those three, I'd love to have seen their primes. Must have been beauty to watch because you're watching like the fingerprint and the pattern that other footballers are trying to replicate 20, 30, 40 years after. And that shows the brilliance and the pure genius that Cruyff, Maradona, and Pelé had. So big credit to these players. So and Ronaldo, man, he's it's true. I think if Haaland's gonna match Ronaldo in terms of 700 goals, I saw something. He has to score 40 goals until 2037. Like Ronaldo in terms of greatness, it's the numbers, it's the stats.
Yep. And the longevity. You're absolutely right. The man is he 38 or he's 37 still? But he is.
He's close, but hated by FIFA. That has to be said too.
Yeah.
But
I mean, these are all justifications because when all is said and done, and when the social media commentary around it waxes and wanes over the coming years, and Cristiano Ronaldo finally hangs up his boots, I mean, he's going to take his place, no matter. I mean, unless he does something incredibly drastic, no matter what anyone says, he's going to take his place amongst the greatest to ever play the game. There's no doubt about it. And at some point, nobody's going to remember the comments. Nobody's going to remember any of the stuff around this. It's the same way Pelé played for the New York Cosmos, right? And it was a really crazy time for the NASL and the USA, and they sold out stadiums, and then the NASL went bankrupt. And you can make the argument that his compensation, blah, 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 bankrupted the league, then bringing Best over, then bringing Cruyff over, then bringing all these people over, bankrupted the league and put us back years and years and years. You can make all these arguments, but in the end, does it change the fact that Pelé was the greatest, if not one of the greatest that has ever played the game? No, it doesn't. And he committed 60 plus years extra to the game and expanding the game. And I think Ronaldo is probably going to, He'll do the same.
Let's see,
when all is said and done.
But the ambassador role, I think that was thought, but Ronaldo won't be an ambassador for 2030. Only 2 years. He's only going to be there 2 years, man. He can't.
Yeah,
he can't.
Well,
ambassador for us, 2030, Portugal, Spain. Come on, in Ukraine. Let's go with this. Get this World Cup, man. That's what I gotta say.
You guys are gonna have some competition. It sounds like, but no, I think you guys will have Spain, Portugal have a very, very solid bid when all is said and done.
Let's see.
But hey, we don't argue. Yeah, we're not really going to get to talk much about it, but I did, and we'll talk about it as the transfer market goes on. But I really did want to shout out Folarin Balogun, and it's not because I'm trying to lobby him for the USMNT number 9 role, but it is because this kid, he went on loan, made the tough decision to do so after wanting to fight for his place at Arsenal, especially now that Arsenal still needs some depth, even though Nketiah is filling in the shoes pretty well right now. But he's 21 years old. He's only behind Leo Kylian Mbappe and Neymar in the scoring charts in Ligue 1. He's got 10 goals. 10 goals, 2 assists. He's one of the best U21 in terms of goal involvements in the top 5 leagues. And I just want to say, Balogun, Valerian, if you join the USA, you're going to have essentially Nations League in front of you, Copa America, Gold Cup. You're going to get your chances, man. If you go Nigeria, you're going to have to fight with Victor Osimhen, Awani, Teramofi, Iheanacho, Emmanuel Dennis, who somehow, inexplicably, does not play for Nottingham Forest. And if you go for England, I do think there might be a pathway for you to become like a backup striker for England. But like, come on, Harry Kane's not going anyway. Tammy Abraham's not going anywhere. I really do believe that Balogun, if he joins this project that's going on, it'll be a lot of fun in 2026. But Balogun, we'll see. I think
Pulisic, Musa, McKennie, Gio Reyna. Oh my days, that's heaven for you, Breton.
I mean, it's certainly a canvas that we'd all want to paint on. That's for dang sure. Whether or not it amounts to something in 2026, you never know. But it is a massive collection of talent that could do some big things over the next few years. But that's the one shout I needed to throw out there. Another one. Congratulations to 18-year-old Evan Ferguson scoring and becoming the youngest Premier League goal scorer in Brighton history. And I got to say, Brighton had a little bit of a comeback against Arsenal, and it was because they had all their youngsters on the pitch. I'm convinced. Not that I'm biased or anything, because I am. It was nice to see guys like Julio and Ciso on there. I really hope that they continue to give them some opportunities as they get raided by Graham Potter and Chelsea, because we haven't even talked about where McAllister winds up or where Caicedo winds up at some point. But we'll be talking a whole lot about that. I'm sure we're going to do a lot of transfer lives, right? Yes. In the coming days.
And Estupiñán being there replacing Cucurella. What a great shout too, I'd say. And Brighton showing what you got to do in transfers. And you said congratulations. I just want to say in the video, big announcement, okay? I'm going to be putting these 3 winners, okay? 3 magnificent comments on YouTube. Thank you for going bold, and you won one white hoodie of FC Wonderkid. So thank you so much, people. And again, thank you for commenting on that video. We just love all the support we've been getting. And Bree and Breton have said we are going to have every month one lucky winner, okay? One constant giveaway for one of our followers. So you just comment on the podcast videos on YouTube and you enter a giveaway to win a white hoodie at FC Wonderkid. So I just wanted to say that, Breton. And the 3 winners, thank you. And you're on screen still. So yes, we're going to try. We'll email you, but Instagram FC Wonderkid, and we'll answer you straight away too. If that works too.
There you go.
So I just wanted to
all right, man. Well, I don't know. Episode 86 ended up being pretty long, but last thing I got to say here is Vinicius Jr., man, you keep doing you. You don't need anyone else to say otherwise, but you keep doing you.
What a villain. What a villain.
Man. I know. They're I love it, though. Barcelona and Real Madrid are the exact same record heading into the second part of the season. It is going to be a ridiculous end of the club season with how close some of these races are. And that's, to be honest, that's literally all we can ask for. Exactly. Is it not?
Exactly.
We don't want no 25-point leads, right?
Exactly.
This is amazing, and it is going to continue to be amazing. But no, Vinny Jr. obviously experienced some racism. He's going back. He's going back and forth with La Liga officials and stuff like that. Yeah. So all I gotta say is you keep doing you, man. And it's just we're in 2023 now. We're still dealing with this crap. People got to do that.
But people, you listen to Breton, man. Comment down below. Who do you think's gonna win the Spanish league with Barca, Real Madrid, Atletico with Simeone? Hell no. Or who do you think is gonna win the Prem with Arsenal, Man City, or maybe Newcastle just surprising the whole damn world winning the Prem? Well, comment down below your bold choices. And again, if you're listening until now, don't forget to just hit that like button. It's a huge help for us.